you. It's a movement. It's a movement. It's really a movement. Well, I want to thank everybody. First, I have to start by thanking Governor Chris Christie because, I was telling the press a little while ago, everybody was really surprised. It was sort of a shocker. We kept it secret. Chris and I met the other day, and he said this whole thing, and he called it the same thing. Donald, I've never seen anything like it. It's a movement. I have never seen anything like it. So we shook hands, and I said, let's keep it as a secret for the people in Texas. Let's do it. And when we walked into that press room, they went, whoa. And then we walk in and you people went, whoa. So it's really good. And with all the people, we have a lot of endorsements happening. It's amazing when you're in #1 place for a long period of time, the endorsements are coming in. But the one I really was happy with is this one right here. So Chris, thank you. We love you, man. So we had a debate last night. Now, I have to say, because I don't hear it from pundits as much, some of the pundits are honest, and they say Trump won the debate and Trump did well. But some of these people are so dishonest. I mean, it's incredible. But on the online polls, where they have hundreds of thousands of people voting, we won every single online poll. We won Drudge, who, by the way, is a fantastic guy. We won the online polls. That means so much to me. Somebody says, what does that mean? When you have hundreds of thousands of people calling in, believe me, I can't have my secretary sitting there calling in to get a couple of extras. So that was an honor. And it's been an honor. And we've been winning those polls literally from the first debate. And obviously, something is going very good in the debates because the big poll is really the polls that are coming out. In Texas, they just came out with a poll that were effectively tied, the Emerson poll. And I have so many friends in Texas. We are loaded up with friends in Texas. And I think we're going to surprise a lot of people, I'll tell you. We're going to surprise a lot of people, and it's going to be great. So I'll talk a little bit about the competition. Then we'll talk about our borders, which we will build the wall, and it will be a great wall. And can you only imagine your ex-president of Mexico, Vicente Fox? You see, that's the way other countries are used to talking to the United States. No more. No more. He couldn't believe that somebody would say Mexico has to do something. And by the way, it's that way with Japan. It's that way with India. It's that way with China. It's that way with Vietnam, a new one coming along. They want to be treated with tremendous respect, even though they don't treat us with respect. It's going to change, folks. It's going to change. Not going to be this way anymore. So he dropped the F-bomb, and I said to myself, can you imagine if I said that? And nobody mentioned it. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. For him, it's okay. I wouldn't use that. I would not go there, by the way. But when he did it, it was absolutely fine, because that's the way it is. Double standards. But here's the story. We're being ripped on trade by every nation that we do business with in the world. We are going to become so good. We are going to negotiate so strong and so tough. We're not going to have a $58 billion trade deficit with Mexico. We're not going to have a $500 billion trade deficit with China. $500 billion. Not going to happen. We're not going to be billions of dollars behind with Japan, and we're going to talk about all that in a second. But let's talk about our lightweight senator from Florida who's losing big in the polls. So I heard he was on television saying negative things. I see him. It all started about 3 or 4 weeks ago in New Hampshire, which I won. I love the people of New Hampshire. We won it big. We won it big. And we won South Carolina big, big, big. In all fairness, that was going to be your senator's place. He was going to win it. He said he's going to win South Carolina. And I won women, men, evangelicals, military, vets. I won everything. We won every category. And we won with Hispanics. I love the Hispanics. Because people that are in our country legally, they don't want our jobs taken away, and they don't want their jobs taken away. And I'm going to bring a lot of jobs back to this country. Remember that. But I saw with Rubio, and he's a nervous wreck, because here's a guy. He's a nervous basket case. Here's a guy. You had to see him. Wait, you had to see him backstage. He was putting on makeup with a trowel. No, I don't want to say that. I will not say that he was trying to cover up his ears. I will not say that. No, he was just trying to cover up. He was just trying to cover up the sweat that pours. I never saw. Did you ever see a guy sweat like this? So, a number of weeks ago, we were in New Hampshire, and I got to tell you, Chris was so wild. What he did. That was one of the great prosecutions I've ever seen. And I'm standing in the middle, which, by the way, I've been for every single debate. The middle. And I said to CNN, I'm in the middle all the time, and I say to these networks, but CNN in this case, I said, so I'm in the middle because I'm number one. You're going to announce me as number one? Oh, no, sir, you're just going to walk on to, oh, really, good. So who knows you're in the middle? Big deal, right? But I watched Chris take a man apart, and I looked at him, and honestly, I thought he was going to die, Rubio. He was so scared, like a little frightened puppy. And he kept saying the Obama phrase over and over. So then I heard it once, and I said, that's fine. Big deal. I'm standing here. He's right here. Chris is over here. And Chris was sort of cool, because he's like this. I couldn't do that. You know, I want to stand up sort of like straight. I don't know. But this looked like Perry Mason. That's what it was. And Chris started going into him. So he said the Obama phrase once. That was fine. Twice. I said, he just said that. That was strange, but that's okay, right? Twice. Then a third time. And I said it was like a robot. And then a fourth time and a fifth time. And I said, this guy's cracking up on us. And he was sweating so badly. I have never seen anything like it. It looked like he just jumped into a swimming pool with his clothing on. I've never. And I said to myself, we have tough people to negotiate with. We have Putin. We have the Chinese. We have wars that we're in that we are, by the way, we're going to build up our military. We're going to knock out ISIS. We're going to knock out ISIS fast. Remember the great days, General George Patton, General Douglas MacArthur. Do you think that they would even be thinking about ISIS? By the time they pick up the telephone, it's over. What is wrong? You know, we don't win anymore, and we're getting to that. But I have to finish with this clown over here. So I watched this, and I thought something bad was going to happen to him. And he got through it, but barely. I tell you what, barely. I was almost going to go over and hold him up. Now think of this. Think of this. So we have Putin, and Putin's going to meet our president. And let's assume it's Marco. And let's assume it's Marco. No, I agree with you. We don't want him. Boo, boo. And Putin's sitting there waiting for a kill. And he knows all about Marco, because when they put Marco on to refute President Obama's speech, do you remember that catastrophe? And he's like this. And we were, I need water. Help me. I need water. Help. And this is on live television. This total joke artist is refuting. And you know, I'll tell you, you know about sports. Do I love sports? We love sports. We're athletes. So, you notice in sports, almost always true, when you're a joke artist, you're always a joke artist. It doesn't really change. You know, sadly, the guy that misses the kick and the coach says, I'm going to give him another chance. Unfortunately, the following year, he misses the kick again. So joke artists, they choke, they choke. So what's going to happen is we look at this, and he goes in to see Putin, and he walks in, and he's soaking wet. And Putin looks at him and goes, what's wrong with this guy? This is going to be easy pickings, and believe me, it will be. But I'll never forget the scene, and then we're going to go to something else that's actually more interesting. But just remember this, really, really weak on illegal immigration markup. Really weak. Totally in favor of amnesty. Totally in favor of amnesty. Totally in favor. So he's getting the thing, and he's doing his speech, and I notice he's live television. You just don't see it. I mean, Nikki Haley did it last time, and she was good. At least she wasn't sweating like that. She was like, fine. She did say we're angry people. And when I was at the debate, they asked me about it. Are you and your people angry? And no, I was supposed to say, no, we're not angry. We're thrilled with the Iran deal. We're thrilled with all of the problems. We're thrilled with our education is terrible, with Obamacare, which is terrible. No, we're not angry at all. That's what. But they asked me the question, and I said, yeah, we're really angry. We are. And we're not angry people. We're not angry people, but we're angry at incompetence. All right, so I'll just finish off with incompetence. So he's making the thing, and I said, what's wrong with him? And then out of nowhere, he goes, on live television, he's our response. He choked, just like he did with Chris. He's a choker. He choked with Chris. And I watched it both times. But the one time I'm right next to him, and I looked at the puddle on the ground, and I said, what is that? What is it? I wanted to know, what is that? But this time, this wise guy, this lightweight, is going over, and all of a sudden, he's being drained, and he goes like this, remember? And he's off screen. I said, where is he? And then he comes back with water. And honestly, water's fine, but it should be in a glass. He's got the label of the company here. And he's drinking, and honestly, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. So we are going to beat guys like that. See, it's guys like that, and he's a nasty guy. I called him a nasty little guy, but I wouldn't say that because he's a nasty guy. And we don't need nasty. We don't need nasty. Honestly, there's no place for it. You know, there's no place. He said specifics on Obamacare. Let me tell you something. We're going to knock out Obamacare. And remember this. When we get the insurance companies who are taking care of all these people, I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my own money. So when the insurance companies come to me because they want to keep it the way it is, because, by the way, they're making a fortune, because it's like a monopoly in every state. I was watching in Texas, there's a practical monopoly because companies aren't allowed to come in very easily. They practically can't come in. So they said, oh, be more specific. I don't have to be specific. What's going to happen is you're going to create open bidding by getting rid of the borders around each state and the lines, restrictive lines around each state. You are going to have so much competition. You're going to have so much bidding that you can't really say it's one plan. You're going to have hundreds of different options. You're going to have hundreds of different plans. It's going to be so beautiful, and you're going to pay far less money. Far less money. So I want to just mention just a couple of words about Senator Cruz, who actually was, I thought he was better. You know, last night I thought the deal of the night was when I looked over to Rubio, And I said, you remember, you're a choker, and we don't want chokers in our administration, I can tell. I said, you're a choker and you're a liar. And I have had, I've had a lot of difficulties with Ted because he does lies. I've dealt with much tougher. A guy like Rubio's a baby, but a guy like Ted is tougher. I will tell you, actually he's tougher. And he's actually smarter, in all fairness. Ted is actually smarter. I have to give that to him. He's a smarter person than Rubio. But I deal with people. Last night it was mentioned, by the way, it was mentioned my father gave me $200 million. Oh, I wish. I'd be right now worth $500 trillion if that were the case. The first thing I did, I get a call from my sister, who's a fantastic person, and then I get a call from my brother, who's a fantastic person. They said, hey, Donald, that's not true. Why did they say that? And he copied it out. You have the failing New York Times. It's a failing newspaper, I hate to tell you. Like, seriously failing. And they wrote an article, and they put something in about $200 million. Believe me, I got very, very little, and I built it into many, many, many billions of dollars, and I'm very proud of it. But, and I just think we just have to correct the record. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. It's Rubio. That's what it is. Unbelievable. But we like to correct the record. But I spent a lot of time in Laredo, Texas. Laredo, right on the border. And I was invited by the border guards. And by the way, I got endorsed, talk about Chris, by Sheriff Joe Arpaio. And the one thing you know about Sheriff Joe, he's picking the toughest guy on the border. There's no games to be played with Sheriff Joe, who puts pink you-know-what on his people that are there illegally. Sheriff Joe does not play games. And everybody wanted his endorsement. But the toughest one on the border was endorsed by Sheriff Joe. So, and I think it's incredible. I was called by our Border Patrol. Unbelievable people. I got to know them well. And they said, Mr. Trump, I was running, I was doing well. Since this whole thing, I've been practically #1 for the whole trip. Practically #1. And now we have big leads. Please, Texas, let's win Texas. I want to win Texas. But I was called by the Border Patrol. And these people are incredible. And they want to do their job. They really want to do the job. That's why they called me. And they said, would it be possible for you to come to Texas, to Laredo? And I said, well, I think so, yeah, fine, I'll do it. And I went to Laredo. And I met with a lot of the Border Patrol folks and some of the top people. And man, they are just incredible, smart, tough, great people. And by the way, you know who else are great people? Our police are great people. They're being abused. Our police are being abused. Our police are incredible people. In fact, I just took pictures backstage. What a group of people you have. They're incredible people. So I just want to, we have to put out the plug every once in a while because, one bad incident, whether it's a mistake or somebody was just a bad apple, played for weeks and weeks on the news, and the thousands and tens of thousands of great jobs that they do, they don't get appreciated. So let's hear it for the police. So, I'm in Laredo, and they're telling me how sad it is, because they can stop it. We need the wall, we want to have the wall, we want to stop the drugs from pouring across. And we're going to stop the drugs, and there's going to be a real wall. This is going to be a toy wall, this is going to be a real wall. And I'm the only one who knows how to build it. These guys, they have no clue. Politicians, all talk, no action, never gets done. And by the way, when I said self-funding before, the beauty of self-funding is that the insurance companies, the drug companies, the lumber companies, all the companies, they're not going to take advantage of Trump because they never gave me anything, okay? Big difference. Big difference. And I don't know that I get the credit for that. You know, I said to somebody the other day, Jeb Bush had $150 million. What a waste of money. I would imagine at some point between him and Romney, they'll be supporting Rubio, do you think? I would imagine. Romney, how about this beauty? Runs one of the worst campaigns in the history of politics. He should have beaten Obama easily. And for 2 months, he disappeared. Nobody knows where he was. And say what you want. Obama was on Jay Leno, David Letterman. He was on every show. And Romney was like a lost soul. I don't know what happened to this guy. And then he comes out and tells me about my taxes. And actually, if you know the real story, Harry Reid shamed him and made him look like a baby. And Harry Reid pushed him and really made him look so stupid and weak. And when did Romney file his return, right? What's today's date? Today is what? Come on, tell me. Right? Okay. So, you know when Romney filed his return? September 21st. That's a long time from now. This guy, what a terrible... I endorsed him, and about 2 weeks later I said, he's never going to win. Number one, when you walk into a stage, you cannot walk like a penguin. He walked like a penguin. I said, this is a problem. Somebody tell him, take some steps. Anyway, Romney turned out to be a disaster, but I know he'll support Rubio. He probably has no choice. Honestly, if he wanted to support me, I would not accept his support. I really mean it. Because we have to be honest, right? We have to be honest. And I will say this, just to show you great loyalty. I supported John McCain, and we lost. I supported Mitt Romney, and we lost. This time I said, I'm going to do it myself, okay? Big difference. So the Border Patrol is incredible, and they're told to stand back, let the people walk in, let them go wherever they're going to go. We don't have a border, and if you don't have a border, we don't have a country, folks. We don't have a country. So we're going to have borders, and they're going to be serious borders, and they're going to be very, very powerful borders. And in the case of our southern border, we're going to have a wall, and it's going to stop. And by the way, we are going to have people come into our country, but they're coming into our country legally. We want people to come in. We want people to come. We want people to come in, but they have to be the right people. We don't want people that have been here. Look at Kate, beautiful Kate in San Francisco. Illegal immigrant, 5 times came across the border and shot Kate. Jamil, his father became a friend of mine. He's an incredible father, incredible guy. His son was an unbelievable young boy. Good student, was going to go to college on a football scholarship, maybe Stanford, and he was shot in the face 3 times by a guy that did it because he was just told to shoot somebody. That's the only reason he did it. Just got out of jail. And you have the female veteran, 65 years old, recently in Los Angeles, raped, sodomized, and killed by an illegal immigrant. We're going to be different, folks. We're going to be strong. We're going to be smart. We're going to be tough. We're not going to play games anymore. We're not going to play games anymore. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So we're going to be the strongest on borders, and we're going to set the example for other parts of the world. And we're not taking in Syrians that we have no idea who they are, where they come from. And we've already taken in thousands, and we don't even know where they are. But you have no idea. I spoke to the top law enforcement people, and they said, Mr. Trump, They don't have papers. They have absolutely no identification. And do you ever notice the migration? And I want to help people. And I say you build a safe zone, and I'll get other people to pay for it because I don't want to pay for it. We owe $19 trillion. We're not paying for it. But we'll get the Gulf states to pay. They have more money than anybody, and they're not spending their money. We've got to loosen up their wallets, folks, and I'm very good at getting people to do that, believe me. Because I like the idea of a safe zone. But did you ever notice the migration comes across, and you look, and there's so many young men, right? I say, where are the women? Where are the children? Now, they're there, but not like they should be. So law enforcement is telling me, is that a protester? Oh, good. Turn the cameras. Turn the cameras. Good. I love protesters. Look at this. Look at this. We have 10,000 people here today. Look at this. Is that a protester? Please be a protester. The only way we can get the cameras turned, the only reason they turn the cameras is if there's a protester, because that's a bad thing, right? I'm going to develop my own protesters. But look, it can't be a protester because those cameras won't turn. They won't turn. I'll tell you what, I think the media is among the most dishonest groups of people I've ever met. They're terrible. The New York Times, which is losing a fortune, which is a failing newspaper, which probably won't be around that much longer, but probably somebody will buy it as a trophy, keep it going for a little longer. But I think the New York Times is one of the most dishonest media outlets I've ever seen in my life. The worst. The worst. The absolute worst. They have an agenda that you wouldn't believe. And they're run by incompetent people. They are totally incompetently run. Washington Post, I have to tell you, I have respect for Jeff Bezos, but he bought the Washington Post to have political influence. And I got to tell you, we have a different country than we used to have. We have a different, he owns Amazon. He wants political influence so that Amazon will benefit from it. That's not right. And believe me, if I become president, oh, do they have problems. They're going to have such problems. And one of the things I'm going to do, and this is only going to make it tougher for me, and I've never said this before, but one of the things I'm going to do if I win, and I hope I do, and we're certainly leading, is I'm going to open up our libel laws so when they write purposely negative and horrible and false articles, we can sue them and win lots of money. We're going to open up those libel laws so that when the New York Times writes a hit piece, which is a total disgrace, or when the Washington Post, which is there for other reasons, writes a hit piece, we can sue them and win money instead of having no chance of winning because they're totally protected. You see, with me, they're not protected because I'm not like other people, but I'm not taking money. I'm not taking their money. So we're going to open up those libel laws, folks, and we're going to have people sue you like you never got sued before. We have many things to do. We have many, many things to do. When I came down on the escalator with my wife, Melania, it was June 16th. And I said, look, let me tell you, it's not easy running for president. You get lowlifes like a guy like Rubio saying horrible things. And who needs it? Really, who needs it? This is a lowlife. And Cruz lies, but at least it's reasonable lies. This other guy says terrible things. And I will tell you, when you do this, and when I agreed to do it, it takes guts to do it. It takes guts. Especially if you're not a politician. I'm not a politician, thank goodness. I guess now I am, but I'm not, okay? I don't want to be a politician. And when I came down the escalator, there were cameras. Look at all those cameras back there. Look at it. Look at it. Hello, folks. How you doing, you son of a guns? But we had cameras like the Academy Awards. It looked like it was the Academy Awards. And I said to my wife, I looked at the Iran deal, which is one of the great insults in the history of deal making. We give them $150 billion. We get absolutely nothing. We get nothing. And then they attack, they take as hostage our 10 sailors. And the only reason we got them back, why did we get them back? Because the money wasn't paid. It went in 2 days later. So the Persians are great negotiators. They gave them back. They would have kept them otherwise. Unless Trump was president, believe me, they wouldn't be keeping them. They wouldn't be keeping them. And if I was president, the hostages would have been released 4 years ago. Because I wouldn't have negotiated until they released the hostages. And if they didn't release them, I would have increased the sanctions, and we would have had those hostages within 24 hours years ago. I want to tell you one other thing. Your Second Amendment is under siege. Guns, 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 guns. It's under siege. And every time you have a mentally disturbed person, like you had last night, and like you will have, they immediately look to the guns, like the guns pull the trigger. Well, the guns do not pull the trigger. And we are going to protect your Second Amendment 100%. 100%. If you look at what happened in California with the 14 people killed by 2 people that were radicalized. She probably radicalized him. How about this country? We can't even get the cell number. We can't open the cell. I like safety. I want security. When it comes to terrorists, we got to knock them out, folks, and we got to knock them out and knock them out big league. Big, big, big league. But when you look at what happened in California with the 14 people and many people in a hospital that are in very bad shape, and these were people that gave the 2 radicalized, this couple, so-called couple, I don't even like to call them a couple, you know what I'd like to call them. It gave this couple anniversary parties and baby parties and showers. These were people that knew them and were friends, and they went in and just blew them away. And then you look at Paris, where you have 130 people that were killed, many people in hospitals, gravely injured. These animals just walked in, took their guns, and said, bing, 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 you get over here, bing. If we would have had guns where bullets flowed in the other direction, you wouldn't have had that big problem. It would have been much smaller. So, we're going to protect our Second Amendment. And it is so true. Take Paris, take California. If, like you're a tough cookie. This guy right here looks like an ex-vet. If a couple of you right over there with that big, beautiful beard, if these guys, and I have to pick a woman, that's right, you raising your hand. She's going crazy. She wants to carry a gun. But if we had a few people, right? If we had a few people with a gun on their side or a gun around their ankle, so when these animals start shooting, the bullets start going the other way. You know, Paris is probably the toughest place in the world to have a gun, except if you're a bad guy, then there's no problem. You just have a gun. So if we had people, or if we had people in Los Angeles, would have been a whole different story, folks. Would have been a whole different story. So just remember, your Second Amendment with me is protected. Your borders are protected. Common Core. Common Core. Common Core is out. It's out. In the top 30 nations, with 30 being by far the worst, in the world for education, we're number 30, but we're number 1 in cost per pupil by a factor of, like, there is no second, okay? We're number 1. So we're number 1 in cost, we're number 30, we're last. You have Norway, Sweden, Denmark, China. You have lots of places. You have some countries you never even heard of are ahead of the USA. Not going to happen anymore, folks. We're going to get up that list. We're going to start climbing up that list. You know, the American dream is dead, but we're going to make it bigger and stronger and better than ever before. Remember that. But it's very hard for a person to live the American dream without good education. So we're going to work very, very hard on that. So Common Core is out. It's dead. Common Core is dead. And I've seen the local. It's unbelievable with the parents and the teachers and everybody. There's love in the room, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's a beautiful thing to watch. You know, another thing that we have to talk about, I've had tremendous support from the evangelicals and from Christians. I've had tremendous support. And in fact, Pastor Jeffress is here right now. I don't know. Pastor Jeffress, where are you? Oh, come here. I saw him. Get him over here. He has been so supportive. I didn't meet him. I've seen him on television for years. I always liked him a lot. And one day I'm listening to him, and he said, Donald Trump may not be perfect, but he's the best leader. He's the strongest guy. He's going to knock out ISIS. He's going to do great for our economy. He may not be perfect. I didn't like that, but that's okay. But he's going to be our best president. Will you come out? See if you can get him up here. I love this guy. I'm just watching him, and highly, highly respected. And also, Jerry Falwell Jr. was so incredible. And and many others, the Reverend Paula White, so many others. We've had such support. We have unbelievable support from Sarah Palin. She is incredible. She's a great person. Come on up here, Reverend. Pastor Jeffress, and is it true? I didn't know him, and I love him. Say a few words.
Let me just say briefly, I know 3 things about Donald Trump. Number 1, he sincerely loves this country. You know, he has 10 billion reasons he doesn't have to do this, but he does it because he wants to make America great again. The second thing I know about Donald Trump is that he is truly pro-life. I have talked to him in Trump Towers. He believes in protecting the unborn. That is an issue we as Christians care about. And I'll tell you what, some of you who say, well, I don't know if his pro-life conversion was real, let me tell you something. Hillary Clinton doesn't claim any pro-life conversion. If you go for Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, there is no doubt you're going to have the most pro-abortion president in history. But here is what I finally know about Donald Trump. Donald Trump cares about and loves evangelical Christians. You know, one time when Ronald Reagan was running for president of the United States, the first time, he met with a group of evangelical leaders, and he said, although you can't endorse me, I want you to know I endorse you. And I have met with Mr. Trump on several occasions, and I can tell you from personal experience, if Donald Trump is elected president of the United States, we who are evangelical Christians are going to have a true friend in the White House. God bless Donald Trump.
Wow. How about that? How about that? I'm telling you, I saw the pastor on television like a year ago, and he was saying all these good things, and I never met him, but I've been watching him, and he was saying all these incredible things, and I said, we have to meet this man, and I just have such great respect for him, and you can see that. Thank you very much. That's really amazing. Really amazing. And I'm going to give the pastor a little bit of a present, because what I say, I mean, and I think it's very important for the Christians in the room. Christianity is under siege. Every year, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And I had a meeting with various ministers and pastors about 2 months ago, and I'm pretty good at figuring things out. and I sat with them. And some of them said, we love you. We want to endorse you so badly, but we're afraid we're going to lose, if we do that, our tax-exempt status. And I said, what's this all about? That takes you, and it makes you less powerful than a man or woman walking up and down the street. You actually have less power. And yet, if you look at it, I was talking to some, we probably have 250 million, maybe even more, in terms of people. So we have more Christians, think of this, than we have men or women in our country. And we don't have a lobby, because they're afraid to have a lobby, because they don't want to lose their tax status. So I am going to work like hell to get rid of that prohibition. And we're going to have the strongest Christian lobby. And it's going to happen. And it's going to happen. This took place during the presidency of Lyndon Johnson, and it has had a terrible, chilling effect. When I said that there has to be a temporary ban on certain people coming into this country, we have no choice. There's something wrong. There's something really wrong. And when I said Muslim, I was met with furor. If I would have said Christian, people would have said, oh, we can't do anything about it. That's going to end, folks. We're going to say Merry Christmas now on Christmas. We're going to start going to department stores and stores, and you're going to see big, beautiful signs that's going to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday. And we're going to have a big lot of fun. And we're going to get rid of that. We're going to work very hard. That's one of the first things I want to do. I want to get rid of that. And politically, if we use that power, we're going to start going up, because we are being decimated. So just remember that. Just remember I said it. Pastor, it starts here. Do you like that, what I just said? He's happy. That's the biggest smile I've ever seen on his face. I'll do it. You can hold me to it, Pastor. All right? You're responsible. So, again, we're going to have a great country again. We're going to have a smart country again. We're going to have tremendous borders and tremendous strength, and people are coming in, but we're going to have real borders. We're going to have unbelievable trade deals. I have Carl Icahn, some of the best business people in the world. We have right now political hacks negotiating these massive trade deals. The biggest deals in the world. We have people that don't have the slightest clue. We're going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to make something great. We're going to get rid of Common Core. We're going to have local education. We're going to protect our Second Amendment. We're going to protect Christianity. We're going to be back. And folks, I'll tell you, and it's very simple. My whole theme and your whole theme, because we're all together, I'm just a messenger. Our whole theme is Make America Great Again. That's what's going to happen. We're going to win a lot, folks. We're going to win all the time. Thank you very much. I love Texas.